Hello, everyone. Welcome to Through the Portal. My guest is not here yet, so I just want to say hi. I thought I'll start anyways. We'll give him a few more minutes. Um, yeah. So, how is everyone? I see Josh. Hi, Josh. How are you doing today? Oh, here he is. Hello.
Hello, I'm just testing. Oh, that might be better,
Here
but I
we
don't
go.
get that.
Hello.
How are
Awesome.
you?
Well, good. We are already live. I already started the stream.
Yep,
And okay, now that you're here, let me do my little spiel and then we can get started. So, welcome everyone to Through the Portal, where together we step across the threshold into vision, creativity, and the deeper stories waiting to emerge. Today I have Tilney Taylor here. I hope I pronounced that right.
perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, so Tony is the founder of Bold Transformations and a guide for mission-led founders and leaders who want to do meaningful work in a way that still honors the self. Rooted in a career across strategy, operations, coaching, and the sciences, he brings a rare ability to cut through the noise, reveal what's true, and support people in stepping into more authentic, life-giving leadership. All right. That was my intro for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll be guided by you.
yes, you are. All right, Tilnia, why don't we start with a introduction from yourself about yourself and your work and what kind of thread or what pulse is alive right now within your work? Like what's the thing that really lights you up
Yeah,
currently?
yeah. My background is probably quite varied. I've had for most people, an unusual career, from aerospace to property development in Europe to working in computer graphics for film and television for like 10 years. So sort of highly technological kind of focus. An online startup for 5 years where I built a multi-sided marketplace that was working with clairvoyance. So we provided a platform that allowed people to access clairvoyance and also their clairvoyance and income. I worked for 7 years or so in the construction industry around digitization and helping people take up digital technology, so a transformation kind of pathway. And yeah, there's a lot of burnt out people in that space. And then from that, I kind of really realized I was doing a lot of strategy work, helping a lot of people find kind of their other way or help them in a way shape work in such a way that it was more fulfilling to them, and was able to work with some really interesting companies, some government here in Australia as well. And that brought me more focused into the strategy kind of side of things, where I don't tell people what their strategy is. I help people uncover that strategy, discover that strategy, or as I say, develop, where I really think of it is when you envelope something, you cover something in something else, where I think is developing is actually uncovering that and it's unwrapping that from where it is already at their core. That's sort of what I'm doing a lot at the moment. Part of that is also execution work. So making sure the strategy that people come up with is quite balanced and then can also be executed. So it isn't just pie in the sky or big kind of um, ideas. While the ideas might be big, it's like, okay, so how are we actually going to do that? And also, what does that mean for the team, and what does that mean for the individuals? To be able to do that. And so this is still quite left brain, and then comes more of the coaching side, which is a lot more right brain, a little bit more the creative, the somatic kind of side. And there I bring in training that I've done 30 years ago and I continue to use. I've continued updating that sort of NLP training where I trained with some of the founders or creators of that. And I search for congruence doing those workshops and doing my interactions with clients, but also may it be LinkedIn or other kind of communications that I see, and I work with them also. It's like, how do you actually make sure that you are congruent with the strategy you want to have? You are congruent with the execution and behaviors that you want to bring into your business. And these are sometimes the individual kind of businesses. Most of the business I've worked with are 20 something plus, and currently one I think is about 3,500. So it's a pretty big business. I can't name who they are, but it is a challenge, but it's also really interesting because you're just dealing with 10 to 12 different kind of people, and it's not just one or two kind of leaders that want to create something new. It's people that really have to deal with the masses of change that they want to create, and also responding to an ask by the business that is nice. They have a nice ask, but they already know that they can't fulfill it. So how do you help somebody deal with that and respond and help them to become congruent and strong to create a congruent, connected kind of strategy that they can really own and be able to say no to some things as well. So that's sort of the background and where I'm sort of high level at the moment. Deeply. I've been going through more and more changes recently. It's interesting. The whole thing is a journey. While my website kind of says one thing, and that was been the iteration over the sort of the beginning of the year, I'm now finding myself more and more wanting to bring and also actively bringing in things like breath work, the somatic kind of side, that right brain kind of thinking. How do I bring in more creativity into things? Because that's what I find lacking in business. It's always been lacking when I started work like 30 years ago or so. I had these dreams of this is what work was going to be like. I had some experiences in companies through like my parents and through sort of friends where I'd done some internships, and they were amazing companies and how they were being run. But the real world, the real world, the left brain world was quite different. And everybody told me that wasn't possible. And over the last 5 to 10 years, I've been seeing those dreams that I had. Everybody's talking about it. That's what business should be like now, and everybody's trying to figure out how to do that. So it's kind of it's like I'm coming back home to the things that I really wanted to do, and I'm figuring out how to do this. Do I have all the answers? No, I do not.
Hmm. Yeah, that sounds so kind of like this. You're seeing this in the business, in the businesses or in the leadership as well. This kind of shift towards a more holistic, um, integrated way of being and working, and there's also the desire to bring that in. And obviously, if you work mostly in um, left brain oriented businesses, and I know this from my corporate background or technical background, and it's like it's a completely different world, right? When you get into a more into the right brain space and into the somatic space and the subconscious space and maybe even spiritual space, it's almost like it's there is this big rift between them, and it sounds like you're trying to help people navigate that bridge
Mm.
to those other spaces. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd say I've been that navigation is challenging. I've been working largely on my own fear of bringing that kind of message more into how I present myself and into my work. That, oh, the world is going to reject it, the world is going to say no. Um, but I believe, oh, I don't need that many. I only need a few people that say yes. And it was really interesting just recently working with a client. It's actually a relatively large organization here in Australia. It's a benevolent society, a not-for-profit. Um, and during the workshops, we initially developed and extracted or crystallized the strategy that they kind of had a vague idea about and were able to write that down and crystallize that really quite nicely within sort of 4 hours. There was a lot of smiles, a lot of congruence in the room. And then on the next meeting, it was like, okay, let's sit down and work out how we're actually going to do this. And after that, after about 3 to 4 hours, it was, okay, there's a lot of things to do. Where are we going to find the time? And I went, oh, sorry, that's not the
Mm,
question you ask. In fact, it's not a question. It's like, how are we going to make the time? Because you will never find the time to do these things because life will
mm-hmm,
just put things in place and our left brain will just fill it full of things, right? That are distractions and so forth. If this is really important in what you want to do, and this feels like the right kind of thing to do because it fulfills your mission and it fulfills things that you want to be able to do and leave behind for this planet, then why wouldn't you prioritize this to make the time? And
mm-hmm,
I remember them looking at me and you could see it was just like click, 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 and then went, yes, we will make the time. Right. And
mm-hmm,
that is the simplest sort of small kind of example I can give where I very gently kind of try and push like, no, there's a incongruence here through the language that you just even said, right? And you've already said you're not basically going to do this, right? You've already came up with the excuse that time's not going to be there. So it's how can I then challenge them around becoming more closely aligned with what I know is inside and then external.
mm-hmm,
What I love to be able to do is bring more of that in, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like even sorry, like even
uh,
breath work, right? So doing somatic things such as, okay, we're going to be doing some workshopping right now, but actually I just want you to sit down and just taking some deep breaths. Doesn't even have to be closing eyes or anything. Just change their nervous system, regulate it down, try and create space for the right side of the brain to activate,
mm-hmm,
bring creativity into the space and allow them to let go of some of the yeah, probably the anxiety kind of spirals. I'm using some words that from a recent book I've been reading, which was quite insightful.
yeah. Which
Um,
book?
it's by Martha Beck, Beyond Anxiety. I've been reading quite a few of her books, and yeah, they're really powerful. They're really good. They she writes with a lot of humor and a lot of humility. But there's some really, really interesting patterns in there. The whole left-right brain of how the left, our society is highly anxious, largely because we are so analytical and we've been taught to be analytical in school, and everything is about numbers and exacticity and words,
Mm-hmm,
right? But that can very quickly then also go, what about this? What about that? And worries. And so it doesn't connect to the body per se,
mm-hmm,
other than giving us feelings or sensations that are likely uncomfortable. Whereas when you
mm-hmm,
start switching and moving towards the right brain, which is the creativity, there's also a spiral, but that spiral is nearly upwards. The creativity becomes, yeah, nearly, she described it nearly like a drug. she described this process where she
Mm-hmm.
decided during COVID to do painting every single day and just started off with little sketches and stuff and then started doing aquarelle painting. And she did that for 30 days straight. And in the end, it was like then she's like she had to come back to normal life and do her other things. She's like didn't want to. She just all she wanted to do was paint. And so that I mean that's what you do, right? So it's like how do you then balance the two of them?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to help people with. It's as an individual, but also as a group. How do you create more positive spirals that allow you to think your way around or through and over problems rather than just thinking about the problem itself, to
Mm-hmm.
start seeing them as the opportunities that they really are, right? The obstacle is the way. Um, if they
Yeah,
solve
yeah,
those problems, they will be able to outrun their competition, whether that's an individual or a business.
yeah. Yeah, and I've kind of seen this too, in even in my development of how I came to the point where I'm now. When you really live only as a left brain side, and this is what our Western society just focus on, and valid it keeps it says it's valid, right? The rest is not valid, kind of, it's not scientific, it's not valid. Or it's not analytical, so it's not a, a good it's not good data. And what I've seen too is this really is about integration, because if you only focus on the left brain, you're missing out on so much. But if you only focus on the right brain, you have similar issues, because you run into, I don't know, psychosis or something like that, right? Um, so for me, it's really about the integration, where you actually go from integrating the two brain sides, and then from that you integrate it with the whole body, because the body has data and information and is really the basis for a lot of things too, for your well-being and your intuition, and some um, knowing, right? That's not just analytical. And then actually from there, even if you study neuroscience and think about a connection to other people, think about the mirror neuron kind of thing. Even like when we when we are in coherence with others, and we work in that way, where this kind of the integration, right? Then we actually we have more capacity.
Yeah,
It's almost like, like there's like some sort of outsourcing of brain capacity that goes to the group. So
yeah.
as a group, you have more capacity than as an individual.
Yeah, that's yeah, you raised some really interesting points there. I think the wait, let me just so one of them is the phenomenon. So this comes a little bit back to my NLP training and my interest in that space. The
NLP, what does that stand for?
neuro-linguistic programming.
Mm.
So I use something called new code, which is very much working with the unconscious. You don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily, you kind of remove some of the content. You really, it's not that the content isn't important. It gives you a bit of context, but ultimately content is right brain, whereas and it's not necessarily right left brain. It's like when you're working with the subconscious, you're working with the nonverbal sides of humans quite often. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you go
That's
down
what I
to
work with.
yeah, there you go. Um, when you even just with our eyes, right? If you close one eye and you're looking at something, our screens are flat, but actually our world is, we know it's three-dimensional, but with one eye closed, the world is flat. You can't actually judge distances
Hmm.
in an environment if you haven't been there before. In your own space, you probably can because you have an internal map of the space.
Right. You can do it probably with your eyes closed even.
Yeah, you'd be able to walk through that with eyes closed. That's right. But if it's in a new space, like you just, in the shopping center or something, and you close one eye, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, I don't really know how far things are, and you have to kind of move around and kind of get a bit of spatial orientation. But as soon as you bring the second eye online, all you're doing is adding another perspective. By getting that extra perspective, you all of a sudden also get three-dimensional depth, right? So there is another
Mhm.
dimension that actually happens that gives you so much more information than just another picture. Because essentially that's what it is, just another picture. But that's what happens. And that's what I think happens when you have multiple people in the room, when you have multiple brains that can interact, and especially, as I said, in a room, right? This is great. We're kind of seeing one another, but when you're in the room, you're reading 95% of that communication. You're consciously not taking it in, but your unconscious is taking it in. Is there
Mhm.
rapport? Is there not rapport? Are you kind of are you having, is there a real relationship forming there, or is this just something's like, oh no, something is a little bit strange? And those kind of things, funny enough, people make decisions, and this comes to like decisions making is most decision making is actually somatic, especially
Mhm.
when you're dealing with complex matters. So people at that higher level of business, if it's not just analytical, data is one thing, but ultimately data is incomplete. So all of this, we need to measure data and we have to have all this data information. In the end, I've seen it so many times. They get all this data in front of them and then they still go, so what do we do? And they still go for a gut feel. They
Yeah,
still have to
because
take
that's
all of
also
that information.
data.
That's right,
That's
right?
also
So they're
data.
overwhelmed with the amount of data, and the data doesn't just say, it doesn't answer the question, do this. It's then, okay, so we've got all this. Now, what do we decide to do? And then there's
Mhm.
discussions and so forth. But quite often, it's an individual that then goes through whatever internal processes they do, and then a they get an internal, either it's a feeling or they get an internal response. And
Mhm.
that response is from their unconscious that says yay or nay,
Right,
right?
because
Or I don't have enough information, right?
right. But that's kind of a thing too. It's like a obviously you can be wrong then too, because it goes
Sure.
over pattern recognition and experience and some form of instinct as well. But it is there, and yeah, it is surprising that we as a Western society have kind of invalidated these forms of data and decision making, where we realistically use them quite a bit over analytical decisions, right? So, and you're right. Like if you're in the room, here on the Zoom call, there is already is some of those pieces of data missing. Like yes, we can see our face, we can see our expression, which is already in the tone of voice, right? Which is already a lot
Rich.
more than if you write
Yeah.
something, right? But we don't have, well, we don't see our full body. And then you also don't have any chemical um,
Yeah.
interactions, yeah,
Yeah.
that are, in that you have in a room. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's coming back to what you're saying there that, the Western and what I've been saying, like the Western society left brain. It's funny that, well, I find it funny that as you grow high, as you go higher and you become more experienced in a business, more and more people will rely on that person for a gut instinct
Mm-hmm.
decision than they do for a data decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that goes through the ranks has to provide data and all of the definitive proof and everything else. And I don't know how many times people would have seen that is all the data, everything says you should be going right. And then the leader goes, no, I think we need to go left. And he's like,
And then they do
why?
it.
And then they do it, right? And it's
Yeah.
that person has learned or has found that what they're doing is they're doing what they've always said was the wrong thing to do, but they've actually learned over time to trust themselves and be congruent with themselves and be able to receive and listen to those signals and
Mm-hmm.
go, I know that this is the right way. I know this seems completely insane, but this is the right way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, and they have
Yeah,
to live with that decision, right? They also have the courage to then live with that decision of what that is and the consequences of that.
yeah, and that's kind of a mechanism then as well. If you're not cons or very often right with that gut decision, you wouldn't probably be in that position. Unless it's some sort of nepotism, of course, but you know, that's a
Yeah,
different story.
yeah, that's yeah. No, yeah, I do think that's I'm talking about people that actually earned it, that didn't just drop into
Mhm.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So no, and yeah, I've seen that as well. It's like at some point, now obviously they also have the benefit of having others aggregate and already analyze the data somewhat upfront for them, so they have a little bit, you know, a different picture than completely from the beginning of something.
Yeah. Well, and they're seeing they are getting they're getting a transformation of all of that data. They're not seeing the raw data. They're not
Right.
they're not forming the insights. They're relying on the people and everybody else to have already processed that in such a way that it's not completely overwhelming and it's been
Mm-hmm.
boiled down and distilled and kind of prefabricated to kind of sometimes biased, pointing towards a decision. I mean, that's the other thing, right? Biases is I don't work with people around solving their biases, but it does come up quite a lot where when I do work with people, they become aware of their biases themselves because they're starting to connect a little bit more to the internal signals.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I do is it's again, it's a part of NLP, but people have been there. There's multiple different other ways you can do this. It just hasn't been that way, but it's helping people create a direct communication with their unconscious. So setting up those yes and no signals very
Mm-hmm.
strongly. And everybody that I have done that with in the past, and it's probably nearly 100 people or so, they all said that was one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to them, that they can communicate to that other part of the brain, right? That 90% part of the brain that we have of ourselves, and probably something that goes beyond that. Quantum
Mm-hmm.
physics now starting to indicate that there's way more um,
Mm-hmm.
in our brain and our
Yeah.
psyche now than I mean, quantum physics is essentially challenging physics as we know it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's also, you know, there's and but that's also part of science. It's like you're discovering new things and then you disprove your previous assumptions and theories, right? I mean, that's the whole point. Um, and and yeah, and like we're discovering more and more things and more senses um and then, you know, being willing to accept them and lean into them and actually, you know, embrace them versus saying like, nope, this is, you know, woo or not
Mm.
valid and not scientific. But yeah, I feel so too. It reminds me of a movie I saw a while back. It's called I Origin. I don't know if you've seen this. And there's one scene they're working in a lab with these worms, and the worms only have um well, they only have two senses, I guess. You know, like they don't have eyes, so they can't see, right? So that's one of the things. So they have touch and taste and whatever, right? I think they can't smell either. So it's like taste and touch. And and they were experimenting on them and giving them essentially eye like cells that can bring in light, and then the their brain can process that. So essentially, a sense of seeing, a sense of vision
Mhm.
to an extent. And that was successful. And they were talking about this how crazy that is for the sperm, probably. But like if you think about like we humans have all these senses that we know of, but um, what if we had another, what if there's another sense that we just can't access right now, or, or because we really don't know how
Or
to
we
use
can,
it.
but we don't know what to do with the signal, right?
Right, exactly. We don't know what to do with the signal. Our brain doesn't process it because, yeah, just like the brain of the worm is going overload because it's like, okay, this sense that I'm getting there from these vision cells, like it doesn't mean anything to me, right? It doesn't do anything. Like what is that? So yeah, I think there's a lot more to uncover. No, I really like that idea of, circling back to your work and like bringing that into the leadership coaching and into the teams. Um, and I like the idea what you're talking about, the NLP. That's what it was, right?
Mm,
NLP.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the connection to the subconscious. See, that's kind of like where my art practice has kind of gone into. Started out, I was painting, like you were talking about your friend, connecting back to my creative side, after years in the more technical IT space, which I'm still in, but like, connecting back to my creative side and then also diving into mindfulness, and then it led to this really evolving of my art practice as a you know connection with the subconscious mind of people, and like bringing the inner worlds and visions that people have into the kind of real form and tangible form in
Mm,
form of art, um, which is then, the way I see it is a trigger or a mirror of that inner world, that it links you to that inner world more, like it
yeah.
connects you to that more. It's also a reminder of it, right? It's like seeing that then brings it also into a different sense again. Like you see it, you don't only have it in your brain, you can actually see it then, right? So there's kind of an integration piece to it again. Um, yeah, and that's really what I do, and with these lives that you are guest of today now, it's kind of I wanted to um do that a little bit and like kind of bring visions into reality. I don't know if you've seen some of the lives I've done before. Yeah,
No, I've not seen some of the lives, but I've seen some of the paintings that you've done before. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I invite you to let me guide you, and you probably know how to do this anyways, but take me with you into your inner vision space,
Yeah.
and I'll do that through a little meditation practice, and then afterwards I invite you to share what you experienced there and what came up. And then I want to paint that or do a sketch of that, and we can discuss kind of like what all that means.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
That'd be wonderful. That would be really wonderful.
all right, let's do it.
Let's go.
Ready? Okay, let's start with a little grounding first. So I invite you to close your eyes and just I just want to ground to the earth. So put your attention on your connection to the ground and that feeling of gravity, groundedness to the earth, which is wonderfully there at all times. We can rely on that, being held by earth. And just kind of come into this moment, into this place, into your body, you sitting here. There's no worry about the past. You don't have to worry about anything happening after this. Just right now, you can be right here. There's nothing you have to do. Just kind of feel yourself in space on this earth, in your body. And as you breathe, however your body tells you to breathe, and you just feel into your body a little bit and see if there's any tension with the shoulders, maybe the jaw. And when you breathe out, just let them go. Try to ease into that a little bit. Ease your muscles, relax your muscles. Just kind of settle into this space, into this moment. And when you feel like you've arrived, you need to shift your focus gently to the area around your heart, the heart space. And just breathe into that space. And maybe imagine that there's like warmth or energy gathering in that space, glowing, warming, space of connection, love, your passions, the heartache, things that light you up. And just breathing energy into that area. And then from that space, imagine a gentle channel of energy making its way up to the place between your brows where your vision sits. You can breathe into that space a little bit. And we have those two glowing centers connected gently, energy flowing from your heart to the space between your brows. And from that space between your brows, I want you to imagine the energy creating an inner portal or doorway in front of you. This doorway or portal is your door to your inner space of vision, your path, your purpose, the subconscious symbolic layer, how your subconscious can show you what that path, that vision means and is, and what are you called to do, are you called to be, to live. When you're ready, just walk through the portal. Let the space around you, let yourself arrive inside the space of your path and your vision. And we want to explore it with our senses. You can try and see if there's any taste, but probably not. If there isn't, that's fine. See if you can smell anything? Any smells associated with this space that come up? If there isn't anything, that's fine. And then let's put our attention on our hearing. See if you can hear anything, any sounds of something in this space, the space itself. And lastly, let's focus on the sense of seeing. So let's explore our surroundings. Let's see anything in the foreground, anything in the distance. What kind of objects or living beings come up? Maybe see any specific colors stick out to you, or any specific shapes, objects, maybe people, maybe animals, plants, anything in this space that draws your attention. Let's just look around a little bit. And I think there's one more sense of touch, which we haven't explored yet. So anything, the air, does the air have a certain feel to it? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is there any movement of air? Maybe there's anything close by or something you can feel. How do you feel in this space? And after the senses, let's explore our feelings, emotions. How does this place make you feel? Any specific emotions coming up? Just general? And then if this space, your vision space, had a voice or a message, what would it tell you? What would it say? Any words or sentences? Or it's, even if it's just a feeling, a conceptual feeling, something that maybe it's abstract, but maybe it's an actual phrase. What would this space tell you? What's the message for you that you need to hear right now? It might be a different message on a different day, but what do you need to hear right now? And then, fortunately, we'll have only a little bit of time to spend in the space today, but you can always return. It's always there. I want you to take the energy of the space with you into your heart and slowly come back to the portal, into your body. Feel your body sitting. Maybe you want to move your hands a little bit. Just feel yourself being back in this space, sitting in your body. And you can open your eyes.
Hmm.
And we're back.
That was a deeper exploration into a place I had seen before in my mind's eye.
Oh, I love that.
Um,
Yeah, and when I do this with people one on one, I go even deeper and more time. Obviously this is just a little short, like hello and
yeah,
bye. Mm.
yeah, it was like a in I'm inside of a house. Um, it's warm. It's made out of wood. It's overlooking like a lake, and I'd say like a northwestern American style kind of landscape with sort of big fir trees. And um, I always thought it was the ocean, but this time it was just a lake that was there in the distance. It's not hot, but it's sort of that end of summer, or it's sort of spring. It's one or the other, but it's that pleasant kind of temperature as the seasons change. And um, there's both
Yeah, that's
solitude there, and there's also the beeping. That's our washing machine going off in the background, if you hear that.
well, that comes in, it visits into your space.
I'm I'm just ignoring that one.
All right.
Um,
I just wanted to change the camera because I
yep.
started thinking so. I'm just gonna stylize this house
And
and
what's
somehow you're
interesting is
zooming out.
there's sort of some details. It's kind of like it's really modern, and it's really quite minimal. It's sort of cedar wood. So the color you've got there is really quite right. And then there was a balcony of the balcony has round is round at the so there's no corners at that of that balcony. It's got a glass balustrade. That's sort of the detail stuff. But the message that I got was you're already here, you just have to let it out. And it's my living space. It's also workspace. This time I was able to venture into the kitchen and venture into the other areas. And there's my wife. Um, there's there were grandchildren for a moment playing there, but there really is this beautiful serenity of that landscape
Hmm.
and a
So
deep kindness.
some trees.
Yeah.
So you
And there's
said,
probably a mountain in the distance, probably sort of hills. So we have quite a long, far view. Yeah, and then between the mountains and the lake, just there where the trees are, there's like a you can see like a lake there that's sort of from the middle to the left. Yeah.
lake. Okay.
And it's sunny, it's warm, but not hot.
Hmm.
And I know that behind me is is like a is two office chairs, or it's a comfortable kind of um chairs where I can work with people one on one, and equally um online. Like
Hmm.
those forms don't really matter. But there's this sense of contentment, this sense of safety. Yeah.
Oh, these are some grandkids here playing.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just gonna do the chair. Don't really see much of the chair. You know,
yeah,
actually, this is. And yeah, let's get back to maybe the message that you were talking about. You
yeah.
said
The message.
it was you were already here. You were already here? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
you're already here. You just have to let this out. Or yeah, you. I'm. It's like it's. This is already here. This is all already here. You just have to let this out. And it was when it's maybe related to when I walked through the portal or through the doorway. It was all dark. It was just a dark black kind of space. Um, and I just let my inner light shine out to give it all light, and then all of this started to appear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think this the sense of work. So I'm still partially in there. That sense of work is is probably more in the direction of what I've been working on. It's it's thinking, it's sense making, it's helping people make sense. It is really creative. Um, it's not what I call busy work. It's not just doing something or like I used to, like with computers or something. It's not sort of that kind of work. Deep. It's deep sense making. It's deep connecting of information and helping people make sense of things. But it's not being a psychologist or anything. I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
just I just get a sense of it. I don't get what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just trying to bring out these letters a little bit more visible. And then I think this one down here is okay. Just a little bit more highlights.
Yeah, I suppose it's just doing a lot more of the work that I really enjoy now. That just happens very in small snippets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were talking about that. Besides that you're doing it kind of more besides the or like as a kind of like a little add-on to your more strategic
Yeah.
work, and then kind of the feeling of that you want to put more emphasis on that, right? Or more, maybe make it a bigger part of the work.
Yeah, and in that sense, whoa, I just felt myself come straight back here into this world. Interesting. Um, it's still that space is still there, but the feeling is different now. Or the sensation. Yeah, and I'm exploring at the moment, or I've began really exploring of I've been having this calling or thought is like, how do I bring more of this into my work? But then there's the fear
Hmm.
of like, how do I not come across as like woo-woo to like most people?
Hmm.
Right, how does that not scare them off? At the same time, I'm sure it'll attract the right kind of people, and there'll be more than enough in this world. Um, but still, that's a thing in process. Um, yeah, it's how do I weave that into my work? And I'm exploring at the moment that there's sort of the fully business kind of side of things is just pure that. And then there's maybe a little bit of sort of a halfway house where it's a little bit more. And then there's sort of an offering for I was going to say for the brave. No, the people aren't going to be brave. I'm going to be brave doing that offering.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I see Sarah Francis joined us, and she said, "A scientist of the inner life." Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if she meant what I'm doing or what you were talking about, like your deep sense making, maybe. Like that, she said that right after I wrote that. But yeah,
Yeah, it is. It
that's
is in a way,
that's
yeah.
interesting.
Like an
Yeah,
explorer,
I hope.
right?
Yeah, an explorer, right?
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, beautiful. Well, I hope you do.
I'm doing it. It's just little steps.
Yeah,
And funny enough,
yeah.
there's more internal work than there is the external work. The external work is I I guess I'm at a stage now where I've done so many different things and done them relatively well that I know the technical things can be really difficult and they can be complicated and one needs really, really good people to kind of do those. But in a sense, I find that having sort of learned aerospace and that kind of thing, like I always come back to that as sort of my training, which is a very system kind of thinking, broad, holistic,
Hmm.
that I think the technology side of our world, all those things can be solved really quite easily. It is then the connection of the connection to the conscious part of us and even
Hmm.
the unconscious part of us. Um, that is really difficult to explore. Like you've just taken something and you've grasped it and you've manifested it. Literally, you just manifested it,
Hmm.
right? You took your manus, your hand, and you fest, as we know from Germany, means hard. Like so, you've turned something in your with your hands into something hard and tangible
Hmm.
as a picture. And I think that's all we're trying to do in this world when we come to this world is we're trying to take what is in us and somehow create that on the outside. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, that's all we do in our life, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And sometimes we
I
get
think that.
misguided because the world tells us we have to do certain things and then we do them and then we realize after a long period of time, yeah, that really wasn't it at all. That was just a fata morgana, an illusion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, sometimes I think like, it's all an illusion, and we, as you said, the deep sense making, we make the sense, we make the meaning, right? That's
Yeah,
what humans do.
yeah,
We make the meaning, we create the meaning. And that's beautiful.
Yeah. And I think there's, like you said as well, when there's multiple people in the room, as soon as you have one or, as soon as you have two or more, meanings become so much more nuanced, so much more like rich. And that
Hmm.
meaning and that sense making takes priority of all of the technical things that are around there. It's like the technical stuff, yeah, with this that can be sorted,
Right.
right? But to make
Yeah.
sense then of it, to really create meaning of it and allow people to buy into things, not even buy into things. I mean, maybe not so bad a term because they are giving their energy into something, right? They're contributing their energy into
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
I just had a flash up of it was from the book yesterday, but it's a story that I've heard a lot of times, and that is can't remember when they did it, but they did this test, and they take multiple teams through it where you have to build a tower out of noodles, like a meter of sticky tape, a meter of rope, and some marshmallows, right? And they give all of those, they give it to different kind of groups, and MBAs and scientists and just parents and school kids and kindergarten kids. Well, the surprising outcome was that the school kids, well, actually the kindergarten kids were the ones that were best and that didn't communicate at all apart from, yeah, no, over here. Oh, try that. No, this side. So they were intuitively communicating just through who they are and through their actions. Whereas the MBAs turned out to be the worst. They generally got zero scores because they tried to analyze it all and they just didn't do anything. And by the time was up, they'd kind of come up with an idea and it's like, yep, well, kindergarten kids have got a tower that's like a meter and a half tall, and you guys got nothing.
Right.
Because they'd forgotten to make sense of it as a group of understanding what the real
Hmm.
challenge was and how to work together and letting drop of who they were, more just really allowing to be who they are
Hmm. Yeah,
and
and
make some.
curiosity and experimentation and not relying so much on, this is all the experience I have, and now, you know, I have to draw on it. Like, you see the world like a child, there is way more opportunity, way more things that you can see.
Yeah.
And
Can we have a look at that picture again? I think that was
yeah,
really awesome.
absolutely. Absolutely. I can move it back. And I will definitely also send it to you as a picture. And I wanted to check real quick to the chat. Sarah Francis, sorry, said something
Mhm.
more. She said, not busy work. You're doing inner work, recognizing the patterns and exploring inner life. And then she said, symbols and archetypes and imaginary play are how we make sense of our psyche and heal our subconscious. What is above, so is below. Maker has to have the muse. All right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it reminds me of how I kind of found my, if you will, job title for this work that I'm doing, which is I call myself a visual bard, as in bard, being the
Yep.
inspiration and the, yep, exactly, the troubadour.
Do you
So,
sort of prance
yeah,
and walk
we'll do
along
that
like
with
the
my
horse
art.
rider? No, it's beautiful. That's yeah, it
Sorry,
connects
can you
connects.
repeat that? Can you repeat that?
Sorry, the bard part.
Yeah, the connection was a little bit bad right then.
Oh, the bad part was it just I just bring up sort of movies or Monty Python things where there's somebody that they're all traveling along and there's always a bard there just describing exactly what it is they're doing, just going along,
Yes.
but capturing it all, capturing it in music and in art and just a different kind of perspective.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. What did you say after that?
No, that was it.
Yeah, I think you were saying something about the image, something else you remembered or something?
No, it
Or
takes
maybe it
me
was
there.
just the bad connection that
No, it
that
takes me
garbled
there
your
straight
words enough.
away. Sorry, the looking at the picture does take me there really quite quickly. Um, I can kind of go back to that. Yeah, now it's a memory, right? The constructive kind of memory. What is perplexing me is this is already here.
Hmm. But that's really what it is, right? I mean, what who said that about the the thing that you working towards that you want or that is your purpose is like already there inside you. Like you're already the person that you want to be. I don't remember where that's who said that, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I guess we just have to develop them, right? We have to
Hmm.
unwrap that person and allow ourselves to let that person be in the world.
You let it shine out.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I'm glad that you that was really great feedback when you said that it helps looking at it brings you. That's exactly what I'm trying to do with this work, is really creating that anchor.
Yeah. No, it yeah, immediately takes me there and I can and like in my mind now, even with my eyes open, I can walk into different areas or different parts of that, I suppose, that building. I wonder what happens if I walk outside.
You should do it.
Hmm. It I get a sensation of more freedom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's yeah, that's interesting. So right now inside. You started out inside.
Hmm.
There is still some more freedom to be opened,
Well, it's the
more
safety of
opening.
being in the house, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah, yeah.
Will become stronger if I go out the front door.
Yeah, you can well, and that's the beauty, you can explore with that and like you know, let yourself experience the expansion, right, by stepping out onto the porch
Hmm.
and but you can still step back, it's still there. Like you're not, nobody dropped you into the lake.
I can swim.
I mean, yeah, you can even do that. Go all the way to the lake, pop in there.
Oh, that reminds me. That was one of the things that I saw was so there was a voice going in my head going like, oh, but then we're not near the ocean. If we did this, if this was real, we wouldn't go to the ocean and swim in the ocean, which we love doing here in Sydney. But it's like, well, I can go swimming in the lake.
That's right.
That's yeah.
I mean, it's not the same, but
There's no
it's
sharks. That's a
it's
plus.
close. Yeah, well, yeah, in Australia, anyways, it's like everything kills you there.
Hasn't done so far. It's
Mm,
pretty good so far. It's
good, good. That's good. Yeah, no, but yeah, like swimming and I mean, that's what I've been doing here. swimming in the lake instead of well, I've never actually lived by the ocean. The Baltic Sea is also it's a sea. It's not an ocean, but um, the the Great Lakes in the U.S. here, the Lake Michigan, it feels exactly the same. It's a beach and it's so big that you can't see the other side and has waves and everything.
Yeah, I've
So,
seen some photos. It's or some video footage that you've got some pretty big waves when it gets stormy.
oh yeah, it's dangerous. Like this, especially Lake Michigan is very, there's a lot of dangerous, yeah, currents and waves and like people get lost or get hurt or drown. Yeah, it's not, yeah, people underestimate it. And there's ships
Yeah.
down there too.
No. No.
It's crazy.
Well, thank you. That was really, really, really beautiful. Really special.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining and talking about what you do. And I hope we'll connect again to, collaborate or it was also a great talk. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, going into some of these philosophical tangents.
Yep. Yeah. I try and create make them tangible and bring them into things. Actually, when you said that title that you're calling yourself, that at the moment um, I've just changed my what it is I kind of do to principal sense maker.
Ah, there we go.
That was in the last couple of weeks. It's like,
Wonderful.
okay, yeah, I
All
think I can
right.
do it. Cool.
You can. All right. Well, I think it's time for me to go and have some dinner. And I hope you have a wonderful day. It's not that late for you yet, huh? What
It's
time do
midday.
you have there?
It's midday. All right. Maria, thank you so much. That
Okay.
was really special.
Okay.
And I look forward to speaking to you
Okay.
again.
Thank you.
You have a gift.
Yes, one.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye.